Talk to us about this season, Ali, because last season, or this, I should say now the season prior to that, when you finished the season and you're at the bottom of the table, I remember actually Midge Peirce was doing the championship game that was on CBS, and she said, it gives us hope. Was it Kansas City that was in the final that had previously finished at the bottom? It gives us hope that we could do that. You went on to do that, but how difficult was it to almost like switch the mindset to think we can actually go from being so low all the way to being the very best in the league?
I think that's key. So in preseason, we would kind of joke to each other that we were going to be worst to first. And so it was kind of like, haha, we're going to go worst to first. And then we started actually putting that into action and applying it to every game. And then the more, wins we had, we were like, okay, we could really do this. And then, filling some holes and, a new leadership came in, and there was automatically a new mentality instilled into the team from day one. The first meeting I'll never forget, I was like, wow. Juan means business, and I need to roll up my sleeves and get to work. So yeah, it was from the very beginning, we recognized that this could really be a thing.
What about his style? Because you've actually brought this up a couple of times on this show. Juan Amados is obviously an incredible coach, clearly very inspirational. I got a chance to see him pretty up close with the team, and he speaks to everyone as if he has a very close personal relationship with each and every one of them. But what is it about his style that was so influential? Because he just had a year with you guys.
Mm-hmm. I think, one, understanding how to manage players and get the best out of them, because he understands that, one, we're all human, and then two, in this environment, we're footballers. And so he does a great job at that. But then I think his high press attacking mentality is something that I was super attracted to, because as a defender and moving into center back from outside back, I could then, high press still and use some of those, characteristics that I would use at outside back, at center back. And they were really willing for us to, have that type of high press mentality and attacking mentality. And the way you defend is directly related to how you attack. And so if we would defend as a team, as a unit, I think we ended up being the best team in the world. Yeah. Winning the ball back in the opponent's defending third. So I think that was implemented from the very beginning, and this just, winning mentality, the winning culture he creates, everything was, about that. Even 5v5 every day, there was always a winner, and at the end of training there's always a picture taken, so you wanted to be in that photo at the end of every single session. And that just instills that mentality that you want to see day in and day out, and the way you train is the way you play. So they did that from the very beginning, and I think that's what really helped us succeed.
So I love hearing you talk about how defensively that's kind of what sets the tone, because I feel like when you can high press and you're winning the ball back and you have that energy from as soon as you lose the ball or as soon as there's a goal kick, it sets the tone for the rest of the game. And you guys brought in Lynn Williams, Jenna Neiswanger. Ballers. And Lynn Williams is by far the best defensive forward, I think, in the world. She wins the ball back so much, and just how athletic and fast she is. She's so good on the ball. So how effective was it bringing those two players in at the start of the season? Did that help set the tone of that's going to be our style of play, this is how gritty we're going to be?
Absolutely. You see Lynn Williams and how she plays in general is just, one pace, I feel like. And when she
annoying.
She only got one gear, and it's too fast.
And then, so she puts that lever down all the way and that throttle, and she's just raring to go. But defensively, like you mentioned, she is that way in the attack, but also defensively, when she loses the ball, she regains it immediately within those 5 seconds. And if not, she helps me or would help me, and then Jenna eventually, because of my injury the very first game, Jenna was able to have that opportunity to play and perform, and I don't know if she would have ever really gotten into the squad, maybe eventually, but we would have never known that she could have played left back. So that was obviously an amazing coaching decision. So credit to them to figure out that she was going to be brilliant there. So having them both on the left side with me was pretty incredible, and they made my job pretty easy, over the season, which I appreciated. I could just organize and just give them the ball.
You run. And I'll be right here.
I'm good.
I'll back you up.
Yeah. So that was exciting. But you're right. Defensively, we all, were playing as a unit, and we all knew our roles and responsibilities. And if we weren't going to do that, they could find somebody who would, because our depth was unmatched compared to anyone else in the league, and that's also why I feel like we were successful as well.
I was going to ask, in training, what's it like when Lynn Williams is running at you?
Yeah, it's the
and you're
worst.
center back, and you're like, what is going on?
It's the worst. I'm like, retreat.
It's just a blur.
I was like, diagonal drop. Just literally when you see her take off, you just automatically turn and you're like, let's just go.
Calling for backup.
You're literally full sprint. The form has to kick in. No, all jokes aside, she's so dangerous and really uncomfortable to play against. But on the other hand, I was able to train against her every day, so that made me better, and that made all of us better. So yeah, that's also a positive in that environment.
It's such a special group, isn't it? You had so many special teammates, and we talked earlier on about how everyone was rallying around you. I think they wanted to win it for you almost just as much for them. Was it a difficult season for you, though, Ali, knowing that you were going to retire at the end of it? Because obviously it was such a special ending. But throughout the season, to go through those games thinking, OK, this could be my last, did it weigh on you emotionally in any way?
It did. I think halfway through, towards the end, I started to, really think about, okay, this could be my last game, so I need to really give it everything. But at the beginning of the year, it was more, fun and exciting, and I was happy to make the announcement so that I could just let everybody know, and I could then breathe a little bit. And then what was most important for me was to enjoy it with all of the fans and my family and friends. If they were unable to come to, a game in our hometown, then they could actually plan a trip to come and see one of the games. And I think that was fair for everything that they've done for me over the years, and the fans and supporters, to just give them a little piece, to really make time to come and enjoy, to see me play one last game was really important to me. I didn't want to wait until the end of the season and say, okay, I'm retiring, because I really didn't. At the time, I was really confident in making this just like a fun, exciting, enjoyable season. And then we started to, make it in the top 6, and then we were kept winning, and I was like, okay, well, now we really have to win, because we didn't come this far just to come this far.
Then you had 6 farewell games.
Yeah.
Really? It was a farewell tour.
Yes.
I was actually lucky enough to be at your last regular season game. Thank you for the invite. And I got to be in a room full of your friends and family and people from your life. And there was this overall feeling that, like, it's cool we got to see this game, but even though it felt like it wasn't until the last minute, this isn't the last game we're going to see. And especially when you win in the fashion you did, that goal line clearance of yours, everyone's like, bro, they're good enough. Because if you lost that game, you're not in the playoffs.
No.
But everyone was like, bro, they're good enough to actually win this whole thing. I mean, look at this clearance. This is absolutely incredible. We were going absolutely ballistic in that moment. And the first thing you do is you're on the ground. And you're like, don't make me do all this work on my own, ladies. It's just one of those moments where it feels like this team got even further galvanized than they already were. Being around your friends and family, all of us were like, oh, yeah, they're probably going all the way. Did you feel like that on the pitch at that moment?
I did. And I didn't realize that if that shot would have went in, that we wouldn't have made playoffs. And so in that moment, I don't know if I was just naive or I just wasn't paying attention to the other games or what it was. Not that I didn't care, I just didn't know. And then finding out later that is kind of what helped us get to the, slide into the 6th place. That was really rewarding. And I was just, you could see, I started to slow up a little bit there at the end. But I was like, put on, like pump the brakes there to make sure you're in line with her. But no, I just wanted to give everything because I wasn't sure if it was going to be my last. And so I might as well. And so I put everything into that. And I wanted the team to just get motivated by watching, how hard I was willing to work for each and every one of them.
That's awesome.
So it's so special watching those back. When you think about Gotham this season and the signings that they've made, what are your expectations of them moving forward? Because now it feels like there's a pressure on them in a different way, isn't it, to go out and repeat as champions again?
I mean, yeah, it's back-to-back or bust. Back-to-back championship.
With these names?
Yeah, I mean, I left and they were like, okay, we need
Look how much easier your job would have been.
Can I just stay? I mean, this is gonna be, I'll just have a drink in the back.
Right the bench, bro.
I mean, I'd still be available to play the home games if you really need me. No, they're gonna be quite okay. I'm gonna be cheering from the sidelines, but it's so impressive to see all these big names coming. And sometimes it is difficult difficult, right? When you have a lot of big names, because I had that in Orlando. There were a lot of, we had a lot of firepower, a lot of national team players, but we just couldn't figure it out. I don't know if, where that stemmed from, but maybe it just wasn't. We weren't set up for success, and maybe the leadership, wasn't just the right fit. So it will be interesting, but I know how good the leadership is here, and I know how great Juan and his staff are at getting the right fit together on the field to perform their best. And so it'll be exciting. I have no doubt that they will be back in the top 6 this
No
season.
pressure.
No pressure.
Oh.
But don't mess it up.
Don't lose this game for
I will be
Ali.
back.